The Windsor grounds feel quieter these days, not in absence, but in transition. The stately homes and manicured gardens remain, but currents within the firm are steering a new direction. In subtle gestures, shifting vocabulary, and public posture, something is evolving. It is tempting to regard royal institutions as fixed monuments. Yet after 70 years under Queen Elizabeth II, an era defined by continuity, the monarchy now faces its first significant test of generational transition. King Charles, upon accession, recognized that preserving the crown required adapting it, but adaptation has its limits. Within those limits, emerging signs suggest that Prince William is ready, not to rebel, but to quietly rechart. William's public voice has gained resonance, not because it is louder, but because it is more personal. In recent interviews, he has spoken not of duty in abstraction, but of purpose in lives. He references change not as a critique of Charles, but as a natural next step. He frames his priorities in relational language, connecting, listening, evolving. These are not demands, they are invitations. That shift in tone is crucial. In monarchy, tone carries as much weight as decree. A change in cadence, focus, or manner of speech can reshape how the institution communicates with its people. William's commitment to mental health, environmental stewardship, service, and family resonates not because it is radical, but because it feels authentic. And he does not speak out of turn. He does not contradict. He articulates aspirations, not reproach. That posture safeguards the institution even as it hints at transformation. It is a delicate balance, the son stepping forward under the father's shadow. On King Charles's side, his stewardship continues to stress continuity with measured adaptation. He has contracted the working royal family, redefined patronages, and tempered ceremonial excesses. Yet he remains careful not to appear as though he is pulling the reins too sharply. His reforms are incremental, intended not to fracture, but to evolve. It is in that space between continuity and change that William is carving his path. Consider the public calendar. William is increasingly entrusted with pivotal visits, global summits, Commonwealth engagements, and environmental forums. These are roles that, in earlier reigns, would have remained reserved for the monarch. Their delegation signals trust and succession, not abdication. Meanwhile, Charles steps back, not in public absence, but within defined guardrails. He retains symbolic primacy, official duty, and constitutional responsibility. Yet he also supports William's role as the one looking forward. Publicly, he endorses his son's vision as a natural progression. Privately, aides say he is preparing to serve as mentor, not manager. It is a tested role. The monarchy's challenge is to project unity even in transition. Any dissonance or public friction would weaken the crown far more than the changes themselves. So the question remains, how much power shifts and how much remains shared? There are several lanes along which the future direction might unfold: public image, ceremonial authority, and access to royal institutions. On public image, William's relative ease, his family life, visible parenting, modern causes, and appeal to younger audiences contrast with Charles, who remains more formal, constitutional, and measured. When William speaks of change for the sake of evolution, he is inviting, not imposing. That invitation is part of his gradual extension of soft influence. On ceremonial authority, he may assume a more prominent public presence, investing princes, opening summits, representing Britain abroad. The monarch still leads at state events, but the heir may increasingly share the stage. The optics matter. Who stands next to whom in official photographs? Who carries titles in protocol rooms? These subtle shifts, imperceptible to many, signal the ordering of influence. And on access, there is the question of which royal initiatives are future-facing. Which programs, patronages, and trusts will bear William's imprint? Where the monarchy invests new energy, whether in climate, technology, youth, or social cohesion, those are the projects the next generation will inherit. If those domains shift, it is not a mutation. It is a handover. The crown does not abdicate authority. It renovates its reach. This transition also carries risk. The older generation of royal watchers resents abrupt change. The palace must avoid any perception of conflict. Any misstep or misalignment could be seized by detractors to question legitimacy. So the movement must be coordinated, gradual, yet unmistakable. We should expect pauses and retreats. That is part of the royal calculus. A statement might be delayed, a role deferred, yet these require patience and trust in the overarching strategy. So when William declares that change is on his agenda, people take notice. When Charles allows him greater space, it is evident that the handshake of shared purpose is far more potent than a battle for control. The monarchy is a house built on memory, but increasingly it must also be a house that learns. The world is less impressed by lineage than by relevance. This generation must demonstrate that the crown can adapt without losing its roots. We watch how William navigates his role, not as a replacement, but as a considered revision. How Charles grants space. How the corridors of influence align. How public reception evolves. The choices they make now will determine whether this reign becomes a thoughtful handoff rather than a fracture. What lies ahead is not a throne captured, but a throne inherited with care. Power may shift, but its final shape is yet to be drawn. In that space, every word, every step, every gesture will matter. Let us observe closely what is left unspoken and what they begin to say. If you found this reflection illuminating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here on Crownverse, where royal history lives on.